Coming up on 5 Minute News. Settlement reached over Fox lies about election. G7 fears Putin will use whatever tools he's got left in Ukraine. And fighting continues in Sudan, even after proposed ceasefire. It's Wednesday, April 19. I'm Anthony Davis. Fox and Dominion Voting Systems reached a $787 million settlement on Tuesday in the voting machine company's defamation lawsuit, averting a trial in a case that exposed how the top-rated network chased viewers by promoting lies about the 2020 presidential election. The truth matters. Lies have consequences, Dominion lawyer Justin Nelson said in a news conference outside the courthouse after a judge announced the deal. Dominion had asked for $1.6 billion, arguing that Fox had damaged its reputation by helping peddle phony conspiracy theories about its equipment switching votes from former President Trump to Joe Biden. Fox said the amount greatly overstated the value of the Colorado-based company. The resolution in Delaware Superior Court follows a recent ruling by Judge Eric Davis in which he allowed the case to go to trial while emphasizing it was crystal clear that none of the allegations about Dominion aired on Fox by Trump allies were true. In a statement issued shortly after the announcement, Fox said the network acknowledged the court's rulings finding certain claims about Dominion to be false. It did not respond to an inquiry asking for elaboration. Records released as part of the lawsuit showed how Fox hosts and executives did not believe the claims by Trump's allies, but aired them anyway, in part to win back viewers who were fleeing the network after it correctly called hotly contested Arizona for Democrat Joe Biden on election night. The settlement, which does not need the judge's approval, will end a case that has proven a major embarrassment for Fox News. If the case had gone to trial, it also would have presented one of the sternest tests to a libel standard that has protected media organizations for more than half a century. Western leaders are preparing for Vladimir Putin to use whatever tools he's got left, including nuclear threats and cyber attacks, in response to an expected Ukrainian counteroffensive against Russia. The former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev said last month that Moscow was ready for the Ukrainians to hit back, warning that his country would use absolutely any weapon if Kiev attempted to retake Crimea, which was annexed by Russia in 2014. There appeared to be an acknowledgement in Moscow that its forces might soon find themselves on the defensive in Ukraine, as Russia's own winter offensive appeared to be slowing down. Russia's nuclear rhetoric has united the G7 ministers, who issued a statement after their 2-hour meeting on Monday condemning the threats as unacceptable and criticizing Putin's plan to deploy tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus. G7 officials said there was an open exchange of views in the talks on the approach to the Ukrainian conflict, including on future prospects for bringing the war to an end. At the G7 summit, the ministers reaffirmed their commitment to intensifying, fully coordinating, and enforcing sanctions against Russia, agreeing to be more coordinated to prevent evasion of the measures and to target third parties supplying weapons to Moscow. Fighting continued in Sudan on Tuesday, hours after an internationally brokered truce was supposed to have come into effect, as forces loyal to dueling generals battled for key locations in the capital and accused each other of violating the ceasefire. The humanitarian truce came after days of intense efforts by top diplomats on 4 continents and had raised hopes of sparing Africa's third-largest country from civil war. But each side still appeared determined to vanquish the other, despite the suffering of millions of civilians trapped by the fighting. Residents said they still heard gunfire and explosions in different parts of the capital, Khartoum, particularly around the military's headquarters and the Republican Palace. They said few people had ventured out, though there were crowds outside some bakeries. Sudanese in the capital and in other cities have been hiding in their homes, caught in the crossfire as rival forces pounded residential areas with artillery and airstrikes and engaged in gun battles outside. Residents say dead bodies in the streets are unreachable because of clashes, with the toll likely to be far higher than the 185 dead reported by the UN since fighting began on Saturday. The US Embassy said late last night that there has been ongoing fighting in Khartoum and surrounding areas and advised Americans in Sudan to shelter in place. It said there were no immediate plans for a government-coordinated evacuation. You can subscribe to the 5-Minute News Patreon for bonus videos, commentary, and more. Go to patreon.com/5minutenews.